Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Diego, and in this vid, I'm showcasing my top 4 Blurple list. Sadly, I was only able to attend one set champs this set, but it didn't turn out to be so bad in the end. My matchups in Swiss were round 1, I got a bye. Round 2, Ruby Sapphire, I 2-0'd. I was on the play. It turned out pretty good. Unfortunately, my opponent didn't see their turn 2 ramp, but as you know, any ramp player unfortunately suffers from that sickness where some games we just don't see our ramp or turn 2, and it can be very unfortunate. Round 3 against Emerald Amethyst, we got the win. We were on the draw. It was a 2-1. That matchup was pretty smooth for Blurple. The only thing is that on that second game that they won, they really put those go-go tamagos to work with the playing it and then bouncing it back and then playing it. And I had an Iago in play that had 4 damage. So each time they played that go-go tamago, they gained 4 lore, and I didn't find a way to take that. I couldn't find a way to take the Iago out of my board, out of my side of the board, because I just didn't find any bounce, or my opponent left their characters ready so I wouldn't crash in and get rid of the Iago, so they used that to their advantage, which is pretty smart on them. Round 4 was against Ruby Amethyst, Evasive. They got the dub. It was a 1-2. We were on the play, but then on game 3 we found no 1-drop, no 2-drop, meaning no ramp, and then on turn 3 our only 3-drop was friends on the other side. So we didn't get to play a character until turn 4, and we mulliganed a full 7 cards back into the deck. And then when we drew, we still didn't find ramp. And yeah, so unfortunately, sometimes it just goes that way. You just gotta play it out the best you can and hope for the best. On round 5, we went against Ruby Amethyst. We decided to ID that one to solidify our place in top 8. And then in top 8 we went against Emerald Amber, Chernadog. We 2-1'd. We were on the play. That was pretty easy. The only part was that I think like on turn 4 or 5, they legit on game 2, on game 2 they quest for 16 in one shot from 0 to 16. That was crazy. And then on turn 1 they quested from 0 to 10. So but luckily, well, not luckily, but it took a lot of math trying to figure out like how much lore they needed left and how much would I need to take out in that turn to not lose. So but it was pretty fun, that match. It was my first time facing Trinidad in person. And then top 4 we went against Steel Song, our worst matchup. We got 2-0'd and we were on the draw. So yeah, all right, so now for the deck list. We play for Popsicle. This is our favorite 1-drop. You play, immediately draw, and then later in the game you pop it to heal a character for 2, and its best use case is when you get to play the bell on turn 1. You got 4 Tipo. Turn 2 ramp, very important for Blurple, otherwise it really stinks. I prefer playing Tipo on turn 2 than Sail against the aggro decks, because especially if I have the bell, it swings nicely into the 4 willpower characters to take them out, since the Cherna Dogs and Amber Steel run a lot of those with 4 willpower. I run 4 Sail the Azure IC. If I have another 1-drop in hand, I prefer playing this card. You got the Popsicle already in play, or hopefully you have the bell, and then on turn 2 you play Sail the Azure IC, and then you're able to ink and then drop another Popsicle. And then if you have another bell, which did happen against my Ruby Amethyst matchup, I was able to bring 2 bells off the rip. on turn 2. I play 2 Hypnotic Strength. This card is mainly in the deck for opposing Iagos. You get to banish them immediately and get to draw a card. Also, if I'm running like Genie or an Elsa, and it came up where my Elsa wasn't enough to banish, take out one of their opposing characters, I had 7 ink. I dropped the Elsa, exerted a character, played Hypnotic Strength, gave Elsa a +2, and then was able to take out that. It was an opposing Elsa because it already had 1 damage on it. Came out pretty good. And I think 2 is the perfect ratio because you don't want to see it all the time since not everybody's running Iago. So yeah, still my favorite Amethyst card. I'm hoping they reprint it in Fabled. Madam Fox. It just feels so nice to just play it, bounce something, take something out, and then recycle whatever you bounced. Yeah, I'll always run this card as long as it's available, it's legal. And then I run 4 Bell, Apprentice, Inventor. Seeing this card on turn 1 with the Popsicle is just the best. Like, it just sets you up for victory very early on in the game. And then turn 2, you can just sing Friends if you have it, and it just always feels so good. And then Friends on the other side, Belle's favorite song. Just draw 2. I personally think it's the best draw card in the game right now, especially when you pair it with a Belle. Yeah, draw 2 always feels nice, especially on turn 2 with Belle. I still play Merlin Goat. He comes up a lot, and sometimes he helps you reach games that you wouldn't be able to win unless you had him in hand. So yeah, I'll always run 4 Merlin Goats as well. Four Genies. I used to like Rabbit a lot more, but now with the meta being so evasive, I like running Genie. Yeah, and him being evasive, questing for 2 is really nice, and I feel like it's definitely a meta call. It's a must to run, so that's why you run it. And it did pretty good in the set champs, really good. And then for my tech card, Dolores Madrigal. This card shines against Ruby Amethyst because they have the Brawl and a lot of cards that banish 2 or less characters, 2 strength or less characters. So you bring her down, most likely they'll always have an exerted character, so you get the draw. And then she also quests for 2. And then if your opponent plays the Peter Pan, if you have your Genie exerted, Peter Pan will take out, and then the next turn they'll probably play another Genie, and with a total of 4 damage from the Peter Pan and the Genie, which would take out your Genie. But with her, if Peter Pan wants to crash into her, Peter Pan would just get banished, dealing 2 damage. She would remain on the board, and then they can feel free to crash whatever else they have. So yeah, it's pretty good. I really like her, and it's 2 more draw options that I run in the deck, so to keep my hand healthy, I run this big boy Iago. He's definitely a must in this meta. Just coming down and then hitting. So usually what I do is that I'll play Iago on turn 4. My opponent sets up a board. They probably play Genie, and then on turn 5 I play Elsa, and then just ram my Iago right into the Genie, taking it out, taking almost anything out really. Yeah, he's definitely a must. And against Amber Steel matchups, or any matchup that contains steel, he's just ink. Then I run 2 the Queen's Castle. This card is by far my favorite location. Just the fact that it gives you 2 lore every turn, and then if it's kind of tricky when you want to play it. You definitely don't want to play it on turn 4 unless like you have to. It's your only 4 drop. But before Be Prepared, it's awesome. And when you see that your opponent doesn't really have any characters in play that are able to take it out next on their following turn, You play it, stick a bunch of your characters in there, and you draw a ton of cards, and then you're good. So yeah, it really shined in the set champs and in testing as well. Won me a few games also. Now I play 4 Elsas. This card is amazing. Against aggro, when they're like at 18 lore and I just have Elsa in hand, I never feel worried because I know that whatever they're gonna play next after I clear their board, like if they're at 18, they're gonna play like most of their characters quest for 2, and I'm not worried about it because I'll just play an Elsa, exert it, take it out with the rest of the characters that I have, and yeah, and then if I have a Fox, I'll just keep bouncing her and replaying her, so whatever they play is just gonna get taken out immediately. And I'm so happy that she's at 5 because she's not getting rotated out. I run 4 Bell. Personally, I think 4 Bell is mandatory. Personally for me, right? So, because there's so many times where, you know, you have these big willpower characters like Genie, Elsa, Iago, even another Bell that are gonna survive a hit. Even the small Bell, you know, they're gonna survive a hit. And then you just play Bell and transfer that damage. You know, you want to keep your characters alive while controlling your opponent's board, keeping their board as minimal as possible. So yeah, for me, 4 is the perfect number. I wouldn't run less. I even considered running Panic. He's a cheaper version of Bell. He costs 4. He's inkable. He quests for 2, but he's 2/3, and he could be easily brawled. Also, he only moves 2 damage, and in this meta, well, in this format, like a lot of characters have 3 and more willpower, so it's just not enough most of the time. And we get to see her a lot, so yeah, we're good running only 4 of her and no panics. I run 2 Finders Keepers. This card just feels amazing to play before Be Prepared, or if you're controlling the game state, the board state, and your opponent really doesn't have much going for them. You can just quest with your characters, feel free, or always immediately first draw before you quest or you challenge anything, right? Because you never know what you're gonna need to sing, or whatever you draw is gonna impact what you're gonna do that turn. But yeah, so you first would drop the Finders Keepers, the draw card, drawing 3 cards, and then from there you kind of just figure out what you want to do. But it pretty much refills your hand, and I really like it. Once rotation happens, Friends is gonna get rotated it out, and I'm really considering running 2 more of these, which I already posted a deck list on my socials, and yeah, I'm already running 4 of them. I'm already setting up to run 4 in those deck lists. I played 2 Cusco. He came up against Ruby Sapphire. It was almost endgame. My opponent, I believe, was at like 16 lore or 14 lore, and they played a location. And I was saving the Cusco because I knew that at one point I had a Cusco from the beginning, and I knew at one point that they were just gonna play a location, and I was gonna have enough character or strength to take it out for like a good while. So yeah, it came in clutch. Like if you ever draw the Cusco, even if it's early on in the game, just please do yourself a favor, save the Cusco. Do not ink the Cusco, because once that location comes down, especially if it's a mana, which is super tough to take out, you know, you have the Cusco and you ink it away. Also, I know, talking about inking cards, your opponent's cards, with the new Into the Unknown card coming out, it's a 3-cost song, and it sends any chosen exerted character into their player's inkwell. That card looks really good at first sight, but in testing and in theory, I feel like it's not as good as it seems, because you're ramping your opponent, and I feel like that card is only good if you use it later in the game, where it doesn't really matter how much ink your opponent has, because at that point, you know, they could already play whatever they have in their hand at that point. So yeah, you don't want to like use into the unknown on turn like 3 with turn 2 with Bell, especially because you're trying to ramp, but you're also ramping your opponent with you, so essentially get no advantage from the ramping. But later in the game, you know, you link your opponent's card, and it's like it's not really an advantage anymore because their hand might be dwindling. They might not have much, or at that point it doesn't really matter how much ink they have at that point. So yeah, but yeah, this card came up, and even the second effect where you pay 4 ink and then all your characters get resist +1 until the start of your next turn, that came up as well. So yeah, really powerful card, and it's not getting rotated out in the next set rotation, so I'm happy about that. I play 2 Gaston. This card's pretty nice. It quests for 3, pretty good stat line, but it's definitely a flex spot for me. In the next set, I'm definitely replacing it for the Monstro Infamous Well. That card is just gonna be busted. You know, you just can clear your opponent's board with it, because you just discard a card, it readies, and you can just crash into something else or sing if you have a song. But yeah, Gaston came out once up in the set champs. I activated 3 cards, and one of them was a Hades. And yeah, it's always nice seeing Hades off the top. This card. And then I run the big boss of the deck, 4 Hades. I love this card. It's my favorite Sapphire card. I'm sad that it's getting rotated out, but by the time it comes out, well, you don't mind ramping your opponent, right? And it's usually you save Hades for the cards that really matter. So like Maui Shark or a big Sisu or anything that has resist, like any big card that has resist, or Robin Hood. That's Hades' job to take care of, you know? You don't want to be sacrificing like 2 or 3 of your own characters to deal with one character. You just want to Hades it away, and that's it. So yeah, love this card, and it always gets the job done. And then you bounce it with Fox, and then you use it again. Crazy. But yeah, that was my top 4 Blurple list for last weekend set champs, and I can't wait for Reign of Jafar. I'll share a deck list soon. And yeah, all right, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you, and happy questing.